Hello everyone, I'm Amir Hossein and welcome to another training video. In this video I'll show you how to use a special software which is called PostWRF to plot vertical profile of a specific variable of the WRF model output. In the previous video I showed you that you can a special software called PostWRF. Let me show you where you can find PostWRF. PostWRF is an open source software you can easily download from GitHub, and which makes it possible to do a lot of post-processing tasks in a very simple, fast and straightforward way. So let's go to the PostWRF directory. One of the main parts of this PostWRF tool is its name list. So all you need is to modify this name list to do the tasks or post-processing visualization tasks. Inside the name list, as I discussed in the previous video, there are a lot of sections. Each section is associated with a specific task. In this video, in the previous video and this video, we are focusing on the first section, which is about extracting data over a specific points. So in this video, as I told you, we're going to plot vertical profiles, which are kind of diagrams that can be plotted from WRF model output. These variables had been set in the previous video. So in this course, we're going to change these variables to RH. RH stands for relative humidity. So we are going to plot the vertical profile of relative humidity over these 3 points. We don't touch these 3 points, but we can add or remove these points, but let me add another point here. For example, latitude and longitudes of another city in Iran. This is the latitude and this is the longitude of another city in Iran. Okay, and go to this line. This line is a special variable for activating vertical profile. If you turn it on, change the value from 0 to 1, it is activated. So for now, just skip this parameter. I will discuss it later. Save it and run the PostWRF software. The output that we wanted to plot the vertical profile was the second one, so I put number 2. It asks you some simple questions to control and manage your visualization. So here the first question is specifying time steps between the images. If I put here 1, or if I simply push enter, it visualizes or it considers all the time slots inside the WRF output. But if I put here, let's say 3, if 3 or 4, or let's say 4, it visualizes, it plots every 4 time step inside the WRF output. I put it 2, and the next question is the minimum value for relative humidity for the x-axis. If you don't know the minimum value, you can push enter, and it actually calculates the best minimum value for your data. But if you like to put your value, you can put here, for example, 20%. If you know what value you can put here, you can put whatever value you like, for example 20% as the minimum value, and as the maximum value I just push enter and let it to calculate the maximum value. And for the format of the image, I choose the first one, which is X11. X11 doesn't save the plot. I just want to show you the plot. Enter, and here you can see that the minimum value is 20% and the maximum value is around 100. Okay, for the first step, it shows me, it actually visualized the vertical profile of this relative humidity over these 4 locations. This is the next plot. This is actually the next time slot. And you can see the variations over the vertical profile. So let me do it again, but before that, let me remind you that by running the PostWRF with switch D, it shows you all the diagnostic variables that you can use inside the name list and post-process it by the PostWRF software. For example, here we chose RH, which stands for relative humidity. You can choose another variable, but you should notice that not all variables are available. Maybe some of them are not available in your WRF output. For example, this variables DOS PM 2.5 or DOS PM 10 maybe is not available in your WRF outputs, because these are special for WRF Chem outputs. Okay, let me just run it again. Number 2 and number 2, which was for this WRF outputs. Time steps, I push enter. I want to get all time steps. Minimum value, I just push enter to let it to calculate the minimum value. For the maximum value, I also push enter to let it calculate the maximum value. And for the format of the image, I again choose the first one, which is X11, and now it shows me kind of better diagram, because the minimum value was better to be chosen as 0 or very low relative humidity. So you can see that when you go on top of atmosphere around 500 hectopascal or 400 hectopascal over this region, it shows a maximum value of relative humidity. But in the lower atmosphere or very high top of atmosphere around higher than 100 hectopascal, it decreases. So by this method, you can easily visualize and plot the vertical profile of any variable you like from your WRF model output.